welcome to Ignition.
Hello, welcome to a episode of, we're going to review a review, which is a surprise.
Yeah, excited.
So this one's part of our EV series, so we've done...
an EV special?
Yeah, link will be below, a couple of EV specials I think we've done.
Yes.
Maybe not, can't remember now, but this one really is an interesting one if you've never considered an electric vehicle. And Fully Charged are a podcast run by Robert Llewellyn, and they look at cars, anything to do with cars, planes, boats, wind generation, solar.
Yes.
And what they've done is they've got this lady, Maddie, who is a very clever lady. She's some sort of scientist type lady, and she doesn't have an electric car, so she wants to get one. So this series is literally her talking you through the way that you could consider getting one and why you should consider getting one. And we're probably advocates of electric cars, not because we want to save the planet, just
generally like
we
them.
like them.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, particularly, and I don't want to sound sexist here, but from the female point of view, and she is a female, and it's interesting. She's a bit like my wife, his mum, doesn't really like driving.
Okay.
Doesn't really like driving. So this isn't for your... If you're a car nut and you want to see cars going sideways, slope off to somewhere else. But this is going to be a quick one, so maybe hang around to the end, because to be fair, she's not horrible on the eye.
No, very true.
Oh, that was sexist though, wasn't it?
It wasn't. You were just stating your confession of love.
So so what she does, she visits the electrical vehicle experience centre. Now this is very UK based, so
I didn't know that was a thing. Electrical.
He hasn't watched this,
No.
so
I'm
I've
learning
watched it.
with you.
Yeah, I've watched it. He wasn't interested, so that doesn't stop us reviewing it. It's one of the things we actually quite like to do sometimes, is review things that only one of us has watched.
Well, it's good because it saves me hearing it twice.
And you can ask the questions that everyone else is thinking.
Very
or
true.
I can.
Very true.
So, Maddie's experience is she's driven an electric vehicle. I think she's driven that BMW that's there. Not here, she's driven one on the programme or somewhere online. So she understands what an electric vehicle drives like, but she doesn't understand how you charge them. Everyone's got range anxiety. Which one should she choose? Should she get one? Is she capable of getting it and charging it and using it as their only vehicle? Because she's going to go from a petrol car to an electric car, but they do, her and her husband stroke boyfriend, not sure which he is, they do lectures. They both do different types of lectures, so they can go around the country. Okay. And that's one of the things she's interested in.
So this electric vehicle experience centre, what's that then? Is that you go and learn about how they work?
No.
To own one?
Basically, they are trying to sell you a car, I suppose. They're going to lease you one or whatever you want to do.
So you actually get it from this place?
You can get it from them.
Okay.
So what they have is, rather than where you go, oh, I quite fancy buying a BMW, or I fancy driving a Mercedes or a Nissan or whatever it may be, you go to the Nissan dealer because you like that car. Here, this is more based for someone who wants to get an electric vehicle but doesn't really understand why they should get one or what ones are available.
Okay.
So this place has got one of most types of electric car that's available, so that you can go and look at them,
and
sit in them,
suits your needs,
and take it for a run.
Okay, so
now I know exactly where it is in Milton Keynes, because it clearly wasn't there when I used to go and see one of my clients, but they are literally opposite one of my, so I know exactly where it is. So it's in Milton Keynes, UK. Okay. So if you're in the UK and you're interested in an electric vehicle, maybe worth a day out. And it looks a nice place, and they'll clearly have, as in the UK do, you always get a nice cup of coffee.
Very true.
Which you don't here in Portugal.
No.
And the other thing that she did was if you go to this green car guide, we'll put a link to their website below, they help you narrow down. So, you've got Teslas, you've got Hyundais, you've got Audis, you've got Porsches. There are now quite a range of cars. So they go from varying sizes, but size doesn't necessarily correlate to range.
No,
and
that's true.
the range, and this is why Maddie's done it so well, because they live in Birmingham, and they are going to do lectures around the countryside, but in general terms, they drive around Birmingham.
Okay, so and not that long a commute, is it?
No, but they may need to go somewhere. Right. So flicking through, what she does is she gets a board out and she decides, just how much size she wants.
Alright then, shut up. I'm doing this for you, everyone. I'm telling him to shut up.
No. We're talking about what size of vehicle.
Oh, what size of vehicle? Thanks for adding the vehicle in there.
Well, if you didn't butt in so quickly.
Oh, you paused. You paused. I knew the pause.
I'm sorry. So anyway, she looking at that, obviously is quite happy with a medium to small size.
Oh, he's so old.
But I mean, you've got to juice yet.
Father, it's not politically correct anymore.
We're talking about cars.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So
true.
She's saying that she needs to be able to get something inside because I wasn't even joking.
Yeah, but you start laughing.
I can't help it
You've
now.
got that cheeky smile when you know.
I can't help it.
Right, so she wants to figure out what size of car she wants.
That's what I'm saying.
How many people is she carrying?
Yes. So, and how long she can go for in the range.
No, how much range she wants her car to have.
Yes, because obviously most of her journeys are going to be small,
yeah.
But occasionally she needs to go on a long drive. Then juice is how much power she can get in. You know, she wants to know just how much power it takes to fill her car up. Then fancy, I've no idea what that means.
That means fancy means how much. Does it look good? Does that mean like sexy level of car? I suppose like Tesla would be very fancy. Nissan Leaf wouldn't be that fancy.
Okay.
I suppose that's what she's getting out there.
Extras, boot space, and what does that say? Smart.
Can't quite read that.
Smart. Anyway, and then the chargeability, and she's putting a cross there because she doesn't understand that.
Okay.
So move on from this one because I think that whiteboard's got me in enough trouble. Yeah. So this is back in Milton Keynes at this
EV place
centre,
okay.
And you can see they've got a BMW there.
They've got a few, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got the Renault Zoe. I think that's a Nissan Leaf, the Beamer, the Mini.
Golf.
Oh, it's a Golf. Yeah, you're right. Then they've got the Mini, and then they've got a Kia. They've got a Kia Niro and a Hyundai. Can't say that here.
Can't say that word here. They call it the Curai. Something. Because the original name...
Kona.
That one. Sorry, Portuguese audience, if we have any.
It's very rude in Portugal.
Yes, it's very rude in Portuguese. Now, we'll try and...
Skirt around that.
We'll try and just call it the other name.
We won't call that anything. We will never talk about it again.
Okay,
that's the answer. So she decides, she has a look at all the cars and then has a little drive out in one. And she then decides to buy a car.
Okay. So she goes through with it, does she?
Oh no. That's, there wouldn't be a programme if she didn't.
Yeah, true. But she goes through it with them, does she?
So what does she buy?
I think she'll go for an i3.
I thought she'd go for an i3, and so she's decided that she would go for range. So she knocked out the Zoe and the Mini and the Golf because they've got poor range.
Have they? Okay.
And
they have about 100.
Yeah, the Hyundai and the Kia, I have to talk about it again.
Yeah.
They both are knocking on their WLTP, which is their... That's how they... Cars
predicted
range are around the 270 miles, UK miles, which is a lot more than American miles, and so I think
that's a fair trek, actually, isn't it?
It is. So whip on to the next picky, and she buys the Niro.
Does she? Okay.
And actually, she doesn't buy it; she contract hires it because she's still not 100% convinced that an electric vehicle will suit her. So she this way by short-term hire. She can get rid of it, or
astute
change it.
Yes, that's a good looking car. That actually, I've always liked those.
Yeah, they're nice.
Quite bland in some aspects, but I think it's a bit different. Not sure about the grille.
Don't like the grille.
No. So
I could, as far as I say, I could hate that.
Yeah. What colour did she go for?
That.
Oh, that exactly.
Well, you can see it now.
Hang on.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it looks better in the flesh.
Now, this is her front garden,
okay,
and she's got a drive. But they've only just moved into this house, so to plug it in,
Which is, oh my
It's an
God.
extension lead through the window,
Oh, that's a bit of a faff, isn't it?
which is a security issue.
It is. You've got to
So-
leave the window open.
What she does is she decides while she's waiting to have, so each episode, you've got one episode is her thinking about getting a car,
Mm-hmm.
second is her visiting the centre, then it's her getting the car and working out how to charge it. So she gets herself a wall box fitted.
Oh, okay, I think we have an image of that. There it is.
And the difference between, obviously, the wall box is she doesn't have to have a window open, which is a bit of a...
Yeah, that's good.
So before the wall box is fitted, she takes the car out to get it charged, and she uses a map, which we'll come on to in a second, and there's one just down the road, and it turns out to be in a pub. So
Okay.
she in a pub car park.
Weird.
So she pulls in, and she's wondering how she's going to pay for it, but you don't have to because it's part of the pub's way to get you in.
Is it?
So what she does is she plugs the car in because she wants to fully charge it.
Yes.
So she goes in and has a sandwich and takes her laptop in for an hour while she has her
Okay.
lunch, come back, the car's fully charged. And what she's realised is that actually she does very few miles. So the actual charging isn't much of a faff because she doesn't have to do it very often.
This is so.
But obviously if she goes into, what she's saying is normally to go into Birmingham, so I'm assuming they live fairly close, she would cycle in.
Oh, close, yeah.
But she can obviously drive the car into a multi-storey car park and plug it in there.
Yeah.
But once she's got this charger, she more or less doesn't have to charge
No.
it. So she gets it takes you through getting the charge and whether the house is worth putting solar panels on. So if you go to the next one, I think that shows her discussing what tariffs you can get because the car can decide whether it will charge itself. You know, if you're not going far on that zappy charger, it'll maybe not start. You could plug it in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Right.
but it won't start charging until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
So it charges at the lowest rate. And the next slide shows you if she had solar panels, which she hasn't got fitted, you could be charging the car from the solar panels, or if it was you didn't have enough, say it was the middle of the night, it could take the power from the grid, or
Right.
if it decided that you could get more money by selling your solar power to the grid than charging your car.
Okay.
It will do. It's very clever because
Yeah.
if you think about the power coming from the roof on your house,
Yes.
you sell it to the grid at 5p,
Yes.
and then your car works out, or this Zappy works out, that at night it's then you can buy the power back from the grid at 3p.
Okay.
Something like
Very
that.
clever. Yeah,
So it's all very, very clever, but
okay.
she can't guarantee she's going to live in that house for the next 10 years, and it's a 10-year payback investment. A
Is
bit
it-
less because she's going to charge her car, but
Okay.
but she's just explaining that if you had solar panels, or you could have solar panels, you become quite obsessive because you've
Right.
got an electric car.
Mm.
You now want to power it for free,
Of course.
and most of the time it's sitting outside your house for hours,
Yes.
or in your garage or in your drive. It's very difficult at the moment if you haven't got a drive, and she explains all
Yes,
of that.
yes, I can imagine.
But she also is explaining that obviously, because she doesn't do many miles, and you can go and plug it in at the pub,
Really?
it actually is. She would probably only need to charge it once a fortnight, if that,
That's great.
unless they go on a long drive.
Yeah.
So the next part of it, so she's done the buying. Shows you how to do the research. She shows you how to choose your power, how you can choose your energy provider. Then she shows you how you can charge it locally, how you charge it on your wall box if you
She goes
get
through
one.
absolutely everything then.
Goes through everything, and now her and her husband or boyfriend, sorry I've forgotten whether they're married or not, they decide they've both got a lecture, and they're now taking it for its first long journey,
Okay.
and they decide that they've got to charge it, and they've not done this before,
Uh-huh.
at a motorway charging.
Okay.
And so they show you the difficulties and the ease of charging your car on a long journey. Now, when she went to the experience centre, they explained to her that your car comes with a round connector and then an oval connector underneath.
Okay.
The round connector at the top, you can plug your 3-pin plug in or your home wall charger, and it'll charge it slow. I'm no
so
expert, so
slow,
let's
yes.
say she does explain this slow. But if you take the bottom one out and you've got the right charger, which are normally
right
at service centres, poof, you can charge it sort of, depending on what car you've got, you can charge it up to, well, Tesla's now up to 300 kilowatts, which is, when you think of P100D, you're charging it 3 times its capacity in an hour, so you can charge that whole vehicle up in under 30 minutes. Because it never charges at full speed for the whole time.
Of course.
So this is them going on their road trip. So they end up deciding that because they're going to run round Wakefield, they need to charge. They thought they'd charge just before they got to the hotel. So they used this app which shows them, and you can see there that it's an Ecotricity charger. It's available, it's not broken, it'll charge up to type 2, which is using both connectors, 43 kilowatts.
Okay.
So if you've got a 45 kilowatt car, theoretically that'll charge in 1 hour, full. And then a CHAdeMO, which is the other type of connector. So that's so you've got both connectors there on this charging point. So they wander up to this charging point. That's the Zap map where people say, oh, I don't know where I'm going to charge my vehicle. Look at them.
Gee whiz.
They
can't even fit them all down here.
There's a fair few charge. I mean, when you think Wales, without being rude to Wales, there's a lot of lovely green countryside in Wales.
Yeah.
There's still an awful lot of charges there.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
So you use this. So they use Zap maps. They get there to this Ecotricity charger. They have a little bit of trouble because that's the problem.
Well, all this tech stuff, it's just confusing sometimes, isn't it? If you've never done it before.
No, this is why I'm a Tesla fanboy.
Right.
Teslas, you drive up to the charging station, the car knows it's there, it even opens the flap for you, you plug it in and wander off, and the car deals with all the payments.
Really?
Here, you've got to use your mobile phone. This is Ecotricity, which is one of the suppliers, there's quite a few out there. They log on, it goes, yep, you can now charge the car. So they plug it in and they wander into this building behind for coffee and cake.
Okay.
And then they come back out.
And the description.
There are the 2 types of charging that you've got. So you've got your round, which is called a fast charger, but it can be extremely slow on your domestic plug. And then the CCS, the bottom bit, really can power in.
Punches the power in.
Okay. And they then plug it in, but they plug the wrong one in.
Oh, they plugged the slow one in.
They plugged the slow one in, so this is the realisation that they've just sat for an hour in the travel lodge, and their car's gone up by 5 miles.
Oh, what a bummer.
And this is the realisation that they've plugged. But, in fairness, she did go, and she's a vastly more intelligent person than I am, but it's explaining, and this is why we've put that picture up. It's not complicated.
No.
And all you need to realise is which does which. There's no difference between putting petrol and diesel in.
Very funny.
That's all it is. Yeah. You've got 2 types of charger, and they knew they had 2 types of charger, but they picked the wrong one. And they shouldn't have done, because they've got their home charger, so they should have known. I'm being horrible to them, but it's quite funny.
Yeah.
And they're both actually extremely likeable characters as well.
Okay.
Very nice couple.
Right.
So they then realise what they've done. So the following day they have to go to a full charger. Here they are at that charger, and actually this was one I think in Wakefield, and they even phoned up to find out how they pay them out. It's free.
Free. Oh,
so they got their 40 kilowatt charge.
Incredibly in depth, the video then.
Well, it's 6 videos.
It's just her full life of the electric car.
Yeah. I think they're about 20 minutes each. I mean, we've probably waffled on for over one of them, but there's 6 of them.
Okay.
And they've just brought out, funny enough, today a condensed one.
Okay.
But I'd watch all 6 because I think they're quite interesting and they're quite entertaining because
especially if you're interested in that sort of thing, which most people are really.
Well, you've got to be because at the end of the day, that's what we're all going to have to do. The one thing that comes out of it, which is very interesting because it would suit my wife and his mum down to the ground. She said she would never go back to a petrol car because of the simplicity of never having to charge it or go and get petrol.
Yes. Because my mother detests getting petrol.
She doesn't.
Well, she doesn't. I have to go and fill up the car.
And she doesn't like driving at all, actually.
No.
But the car, she doesn't know, and we can't comment because we've not got an electric vehicle. No. The ease in which this car drives and the simplicity and how it helps you drive,
Okay.
because of the regenerative braking, which I think is something else that makes people nervous.
Yes.
And the overall thing is she's leased this car because of its range, because obviously everyone has range anxiety, and she's now realised that the charges are so good, it's also simple, and the actual mileage that they do on a day-to-day basis, they don't need anything like the mileage that this car offers.
No, it's I suppose it's a bit of an eye-opener for her.
Yeah, so really, they, other than the fact they need to put stuff in when they travel. They could do with a Smart.
Okay.
So really, I think that, I'm assuming they'll do a follow-on to this, and I would think when she gets rid of this one, she'll probably get something smaller, like a Zoe.
Yeah, it would make sense if she doesn't use the range.
But even then, the Zoe's just come out, and suddenly the range has flown.
Yeah, they've got, everything's getting better and better as range.
Yeah, so this is a really good, if you know nothing about EVs, and you've got to be interested, because in 5 years' time we'll all be driving them, whether we want to or we don't. But the positive is that the majority of people that I've met who've got one, and this programme really does explain very well, most people much prefer driving an electric vehicle, unless you're a petrol head.
Okay. Right.
But then you could drive a Tesla.
A Tesla and your internals
Or a
get
Porsche.
destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is, from a day-to-day driving experience of using your car as a tool to get from A to B, the fact that if you've got your own drive or garage and you can plug it in,
Sorted.
you're sorted. Great review. She does it really well. She's very entertaining.
I'm interested.
It's good. It's good. It's quite funny as well. So that's our recommendation. So if you flick to the last one, the car she bought, which is the Kia. This is just me. This is my screen.
Oh, okay.
The bit that interested me is the car she's purchased, which is, I think, knocking on about 30. She's leased it, but I think they're in the late 30s.
Oh, late.
So it's 40,000. So it's not a cheap car, that one. So she's got the Kia, but it's a 200 horsepower car, 300 pound-foot of torque. It can charge up to 100 kilowatts if you've got the right charger. And the bit that I've written here, you can charge 100 miles in 30 minutes, which isn't too bad,
No.
But if you flick to Tesla, which is why, and I am a Tesla fanboy, and I'm a Tesla fanboy because of that charging system, on the Model 3, instead of spending 30 minutes, you can do it in 5.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah,
and at their new chargers that they've brought out, they'll charge at the rate of 1,000 miles an hour.
No.
Yeah, 1,000 miles an hour.
Wow. Okay, well that's going to completely destroy everyone's range anxiety.
So if you've got one of the big Teslas which will do a 400-mile range and it charges at 4,000 miles an hour, it doesn't quite work out like that because it has to condition the battery. So as it gets fuller, it slows down.
Yes.
So you'd never charge your P100D, which is 100, you're not going to charge that in 10 minutes, it's still going to take 15 or 20, but that's from empty.
15-20 minutes is more than acceptable.
We've discussed your toilet habits before, that is plenty long enough. So at the moment, she could have got a Tesla, but I think she didn't get a Tesla because Robert Llewellyn drives a Tesla. He's got a Model 3. At the moment, if you are going to do distance work, a Model 3, there is no question you buy a Tesla.
Okay.
If you can charge from home and you may do the odd long journey, any of them will do.
Okay.
And they're getting better and better and better, because if you get home and just go plug it in, and in the morning you get out, get in your car, it's absolutely, as the programme would say, fully charged.
Fully charged. Yeah.
You're sorted, aren't you?
Yeah. That's very, very true. And they always compliment how well they drive.
Yeah.
Always do. So, awesome. I'm going to check that one out then.
They're very, very smooth. And then the last little bit we've got for you is the list of the programmes that she does. And
we'll link the playlist in the description, won't we?
So all the links will be there. You can watch through those and it'll give you a full insight. Regardless if your knowledge is brilliant about electric cars, it's still just an interesting watch.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, Father.
Oh, my pleasure. So, again, go check that one out, and
awesome.
And as they would say on Fully Charged, if you have been, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.